All right. Yep, we're on. So we're actually in Port Douglas at the moment. So using the laptop and different locations. So sorry about the 2 minutes late starting, but we had to sort out Wi-Fi, kids, and a few other things. So I've actually got Chaz who's in my unit right now as well. So it's a pretty cool trip. We come up after Townsville and obviously a tough weekend, so good to come up, relax, and let the workshop do some work, and we'll relax and get our head together and go again soon. So yeah, let's roll through the questions. So the first one's actually, what are we doing after Townsville to relax? So yeah, we're up there. We're up here at the moment. So come up this morning and caught the flight with about 100 other race fans from Townsville, and the majority of them had Holden shirts on, so it sort of rubbed a bit of salt in the wound. But yeah, but good to come up and relax for a few days. We've got the second one. Was the issue with speed during practice and qualifying will be solved by Willowbank? We don't really know what the issue was. I think the speed of the car was down, but you know where it's struggling, but we're not 100% sure how to fix it on the hard tyre at the moment or at that track. But Willowbank is all soft tyres, so we're pretty confident on soft tyre. But even saying that hard tyre at Pukekohe, we had a really good weekend. So yeah, I don't think it's a hard tyre issue. I think we can fix it. But the next one's soft tyre, so we should be okay. Yep, we're on. So, why did you guys struggle so much on the weekend? The biggest issue was qualifying speed for me. But I guess the other issue was our race pace was not too bad, but just not as quick as the other guys. But we tried a few different things. Different cars tried different things. So, but yeah, it was tough. I don't know why. I know what the car was doing, but you know, we only needed a tenth of a second, and you moved from 12th to about 5th on the grid. So it's a struggle, but it's probably a tenth of a second. So it was a tough weekend. But then saying that the Triple Eight guys were 4 tenths clear of our pace, so we have work to do. So we'll try and fix it. Great recovery. Since the test day, our qualifying speed hasn't seemed to have improved, but everyone else did. How do you rate Queensland raceway chances? Yeah, we tested, but I guess we didn't find the gains that everyone else found. So we need to we actually test again between now and Ipswich. So we need to sort of get our act together and really try some new things. So you know, I think if we qualified well the weekend, we could have raced in the top 5 comfortably. But when you qualify 19th, it's near impossible. So we need to qualify better, and we have a few things to try. But one test day before Willowbank, we need to make sure we can get the things in the car and really really try and sort this out. Cup's only 96 points behind. What do you need to do better at Ipswich to maintain the lead? I think qualifying is the obvious one, but I think on the soft tyre we'll be okay. We can tend to run with them quite well on the soft tyre. So that's all soft tyre. But the concerns it's the back end of the year. It's all hard tyre from pretty well stand on. So we if we're not on the hard tyre, we're not gonna win it. So we need to make sure that we fix it, and to fix it pretty quick. But we'll be okay. It's one bad round. Happens to everyone, I guess. But saying that, we still salvaged a pretty good result. So hopefully that's our worst round of the year. And you can see, you know, when you have Lowndes' round, how bad it can be. So we actually survived quite well. Fully appreciate qualifying speed is down. Your race is impeccable. You don't you didn't double stack, you would have been on the podium. I don't know about that. It was a tough race. The way it works is that whoever is the top qualifying car gets priority. So um, in that uh, in that race, Chaz had priority, and they decided to pit him, and my engineer called that the best move. But really, if you can start 12th and finish 6th, you take that any day as well. So we ended up okay, but there was pretty long stints on some tyres there. So everyone ran out of sequence a little bit, and at the end of the day, everything sort of worked out in finish 6th. But yeah, double stacking is always an issue, but it's one of those things you have to deal with, and some guy is always going to be on that end of it, and my qualifying weekend was poor, so you deserve to cop the end of it. Thanks for signing my Bathurst model car. On a race weekend when you look to be chasing speed, how do you keep focused and not get frustrated where you make a big mistake? It's really tough because the weekend was pretty tough. When you start 19th, you're just in the pack, and everyone's so aggressive, and they drive pretty rough in that first corner. So you just got to be smart and I guess strategize your way so you get some clean track. Hope that you've got race pace and you can stay out of trouble. But yeah, it's one of the things you have to sort of deal with when you're in the pack. You can't just throw it away. You got to try and salvage it. And for us, we finished 11th and 8th and 6th. That was pretty good for qualifying where we did. So yeah, I'm happy with the results, given how bad we qualified. So yeah, you just got to. It's the bad days that win the championship, and that was a bad day, and I think we salvaged it. So no more of them, and we should be okay. What was your most favourite Falconet supercar to drive? The probably favourite one was the '07 Cobra. It was not only looked good, but it was really quick as well. So yeah, probably the Cobra, the BA at the time, or BF, sorry, at the time. So that was probably the best one. But they were all pretty good in their own way. But that was a favourite. It's still 93 days, 3 hours and 15 minutes until we start rolling on the track for Bathurst. What is involved in prep for yourself leading up to it? Fitness, mental, workout with your co-driver. That's a pretty scary stat, 93 days and 3 hours. But yeah, you do. You're always working, I guess, not just for Bathurst, but in general. You know, on the weekend when you struggle, you do have concerns for Bathurst because that's the race we all want to win. So yeah, you have a few concerns just in the car, so you got to work hard to make sure that we can win that race because it is important. And going back to this year, you definitely want to have a good crack at it. So, but in terms of fitness, it's probably one of the easiest tracks on the body to race. So you don't really need to up your training. But with the co-driver, someone who has the ability of Steve Owen, you don't really need to do anything with him. He's proven. He's raced there as a lead driver and a co-driver, so you don't have to do much with him. It's the younger blokes that I guess you spend time with sometimes. So you look at your Cam Waters, who's doing it really for the first time. They're always asking questions, but the other guys, they just slot in, turn up, race, go home. They've been doing it for years, so yeah, it's pretty straightforward. There's a lot of talk lately about the possibility of the Mustang. Would you hope to see running the Mustang in the future? I think it could. The Mustang's a pretty cool car, and yeah, I'd love to drive one, but yeah, we'll see what they say. There's so many different products on the range or in the range at the moment, so we'll yeah, see what gets brought in and what cars get homologated, and we'll see how we go from there. Were you surprised in Darwin that Winch Cup actually complimented you not car 5 in the team. He actually said Mark and FPR. Yeah, I saw that as well. He normally refers to cars, not to people. So it's interesting that he actually referred to a person. So, but yeah, that's good. He had no reason not to, I guess. And we compliment him on the weekend as well because he did a good job. So yeah, it's one of those things. I hope they respect you and yeah, it was good to hear for once the name, not the car. So hopefully we can do it again. It's not nice to see him win too many times because we need to get those points back. So we'll compliment him this time, but let's hope it's there now and we can keep getting compliments from there. Nice. Great to see you in the Castrol suite. My question is, what happens when you need to go to the bathroom through a race? You don't really need to go through a race. It's I'll say hi. No, it's not a big concern, um, but yeah, it's one of those things. Some drivers have their stories, so you'll have to ask some other blokes about their stories. Maybe ask Chaz. What do you do in the car?
Just wing it.
Just wings it. Just wings it. So yeah, that sounds like a good answer. We just wing it. Do you make a good passenger in the family car, assuming they drive? She does most of the driving, so yeah, she's pretty good. So yeah, pretty relaxed in the car. But yeah, I hate driving on the road. So it's one of those things you get a little bit angry sometimes with some people. So you're better off letting the wife drive and let her get angry at some people, not me. What are your thoughts on double stacking? Would you have liked to see one of you on a different strategy? It's one of those things. Double stacking happens. It's happened for a really long time. So, but yeah, it's one of those things. You just got to deal with it. And at the end of the day, our strategy worked quite well. If we didn't stop at that first lap, then we would have had to go long, and then effectively add 30 seconds onto your stop. The other thing it would have done was separate the tyres, but both guys are trying to go with the best strategy. That was the best strategy, although Wingcup made his work, but that was the best strategy. So you've got to bring both cars in, and that's just one of the parts of our sport. It's never going to change. So some days it works for you, other days it doesn't. If you're the front car, it actually gives you a big gain if team cars are up front. So HRT and 888 and a couple of those guys are up the front. So if one of those cars or both cars pit, you effectively jump a couple of cars straight away. So it will work for one, won't work for the other. But yeah, so be it. So away it goes. My question is, what's your take on the Red Bull FPR rivalry? Does Roland really carry on like you know what all the time, or is it just part of the show when he gets his TV on, his mug on TV? I don't know. It's one of those things where you race, I guess. He's pretty vocal. He talks a lot of rubbish. So yeah, you just, I guess, listen to it and read it and laugh at it. But yeah, it doesn't actually ever say anything to you, which you always read about it. So yeah, one of those things. You just read about it and just laugh about it. But yeah, sometimes he looks silly, sometimes he's probably saying the right things. So, yeah, good luck to him. He can keep saying what he says. Just want to say, I think you're a great person and an awesome driver. I'm a big fan, and I love this photo. If I could have a shout out, that would mean so much. Hi, Bonnie. Thank you. It's an old photo. We need to get another one. That was 7 years ago, 2007. So we need another one. So yeah, let's catch up at a track and get you out of the HRT gear and get into Ford gear, and yeah, we'll have another photo. What are the main changes in setup between qualifying and racing, as quali times are 2 seconds faster? How long would the car last if you just went racing with this setup? With Car of the Future, it hasn't really changed too much because it's very sensitive. So we actually race with a very similar setup, but saying that, we're not actually getting the big gains out of qualifying either. So Yeah, it's not massive, but if you obviously the tyre life's the issue, so you want the car to turn on qualifying for one lap, and then for the race you want the tyre to last. So you've just got to make the best setup, but yeah, it's not that massive a change. If you knew what it was, you'd probably be surprised. Will Ford use the Coyote motor in the V8s? I don't know. I think we've got a lot of money tied up with our engines at the moment, so for us to completely bring a new engine in, it's a massive expense. So I'm not sure. I doubt that we'll see it, but I'm not involved in this side, so you never really know. But to bring new engines in would be millions of dollars, and you've got to start from scratch. So it's a massive job to do. Great racing this weekend. Can you say hi to Amber? Hi, Amber. It was a good weekend in recovery-wise, but not the best results. But yeah, thanks for coming on and saying hello. And we're just done a walk through Ghosty in the background, so that's getting on. Oliver wants to come past. Should be in bed, but he's not. Great race on the weekend. From a championship point of view, how do you think the weekend went? It went okay. It could have been really bad, so I'm happy that we got away with what we did, but disappointed that we really got the qualifying so bad. So whenever you're 19th, you should, if you finish 11th, you should be happy. If you finish 8th, you should be happy. So really happy with the recovery, but really disappointed with the quality. I think you know, in the last 6 years, I've been on the front row every 5 of the 6 times, and then this year, you know, we're in. Yeah, you expect to be up there, and as a team, we struggled. Jazz was the best, and then Dave was probably second, and I was third. So yeah, really struggled, but hopefully, hopefully that's a one-off. We can fix it. When you qualify further down the pack, where a lot of incidents happen, do you approach your race differently? If so, how? The hardest part is getting through turn 2. There's guys that try and pass lots of cars in the first corner, because that's where majority of passing will happen. So yeah, you just got to be careful. You got to pick gaps. Everything narrows, and make sure you don't get contact, because turn 1 instantly you have contact. You bend the steering, and you're pretty well in passenger mode. So yeah, you do try and be a bit more conservative. Where off the front you can be a little bit more aggressive, but yeah, for me it's making up spots and getting through the corner without having contact. So it's pretty tough up the back. So don't want to be there too often. What is the team trying to figure out with the qualifying setup to get it right? Spring rate, shock adjustment. There's so many things that that we're trying. We tried a lot of shock on the weekend. We tried a lot of spring on the weekend. We tried lots of things, and it didn't work. But when we do we'll get one thing right, and it'll work. We're just a small thing away, because in the race we prove how our speed is okay. All we've got to do is make sure that we can use the tyre more. So got some really smart guys, and they'll fix it. I'm not worried about that, but we need to do it quickly, and that's the worrying part. So we'll test and hopefully get a bit better. And next time we qualify on hards, it's hopefully we can fight for pole position. What are your thoughts on Lowndes' driving on Saturday, race 1? Yeah, I saw a bit of the replay, but yeah, it was pretty aggressive. He, I guess, you know, he often does tap the rear of other cars. He's pretty, you know, pretty common to do that. But it just depends on the effect of the car in front. And the couple that he did it to, he hit a bit harder than probably what he normally does, and yeah, caused a bit of mayhem. And you know, 25 points is a big penalty with 2 grid spots. So yeah, he copped the reprimand for it. But yeah, it depends. When you're tapping someone, it depends on how hard you hit them, is how bad the consequence is, how big the penalty is. So he got the penalty for it. So they sort of comment on it more than what I do. Can you see the flags waving and hear the crowd from in the car? Thanks for pit look and photos. You can see the flags. You can't hear the noise. It's in the car's really noisy. You got earplugs and everything going on. So it's it's pretty visual. You can see the flags for sure. So it's nice even when you finish 11th to see all the 4 flags still waving. Because when you win, it's really cool. But when you're 11th, you're disappointed. But it's great that that the fans still and the supporters still wave the flags and cheer us on, because it's nice to know that you're with you when you're winning and you when you're not. So you definitely see them and appreciate it, because it's good to see. Do you feel any more pressure with Wingcup behind you in the championship? Not really. It's he was always going to be the lead guy for that team. It was a matter of time before he passed Lowndes, I thought. But it's just we need to get our cars right. If we get our cars right, it doesn't matter who's behind you. But after the weekend, the top 6 are within 300 points, so it's very close. If we don't have car speed, we're not going to win it. So it doesn't matter how our competitors are or where we are, I guess, points-wise. If we're fast, we'll open up a gap. If we're not, we're going to lose the gap. So that's probably more the worry than who's around me. But as a team, we'll get the car right, and if we can, then we'll worry about the points at Homebush. But it's still nice to lead. Seeing we've had a bad weekend, but there's a lot of quick cars now, and we need to make sure that we get ours right. You seem to have good race pace, but not qualifying. Do you think there is a factor affecting qualifying to normal pace? The fact is we're not using our tyre in one lap, and that means we don't get the ultimate quickest time. But also we don't use our tyre, so we have longer race pace, which means on the soft tyre we've been very strong. So we're struggling in one area, but we're good in another. So we're just going to try and make the tyre work. If we can do that, we'll be right. What have we got here? With regards to what happened between Caruso and Davison in the pits, it seems like an easy mistake to make. Have you ever had a close call like that? Does your car controller have a different call for when Lowndes or Wingcup are pitting? To wonder it doesn't happen more often. Sometimes the guys, they're under pressure massively. They get confused, and they can. Normally, our guys will know that with us, it's Bottle Racing or Perkins, so it's very easy for us to know who's coming in behind us, and also that we know that a 888 car is going to come across your bow. But that one, the guy should have known that the Nissan was going to come in, because that was the car that was in front of them. But it is hard. They're under pressure, and I wouldn't want to be in their position. It's a horrible spot to be in. What do we got? What's the view on the penalties that were handed down over the weekend? Do you think 888 get away with things too much? Well, the penalties were good. They've been good all year. They're really pretty strict on all the driving standards, which is good. You know that if you do something wrong, you cop a penalty. 888 got a penalty that was a pretty big penalty. So I don't think they got away with anything. I think it's been really fair, and Bugs has done a really good job in terms of coming on people, and it was good to see the penalties get done, because at the end of the day you want to know the rules, and this year's probably been the most consistent for me that I've ever seen. So I think Bugs is doing a great job. What does the team do once the cars are back at FPR to get them ready for Willowbank? So hi to Mark. Hi, Mark. The guys go back. We've got a test day and a ride day, so we get ready for that. They strip the cars, give them a full service, make sure there's no issues, pull the engines out, check the engines, all that sort of stuff. everything gets crack tested. So there's a lot of work. There's 2 guys full time in the car. There's the engine blokes, and there's everyone else that sort of puts in. So together they strip it, pull it apart, becomes a shell with pretty well just electrical in there, and then gets rebuilt. So yeah, it's a big job. They do a massive job, the guys, but we're lucky to have a good crew and the effort they put in, because that's what's going to win us this thing is the guys at the workshop, not the guys driving any better. It's the guys pulling the cars apart. So they do a lot of work. Once again, your race day seemed very good. Are the current qualifying issues apparent on both tyre compounds? I think the soft tyre were a little bit better, but we've still got issues. So it's pretty well the car doesn't turn as well as it should, which means it understeers a little bit. So if we can fix that, we'll be okay. But it's been really tough to try and get on top of it. The hard tyre exaggerates it a little bit more. So if we can fix it on the hard tyre, we're going to be really good on the soft, because it's a little bit better on the soft tyre than what it is on the hard at the moment. So hopefully we can fix it. Which international track would you most like to race on? There's a few good ones, but probably Monaco would be really cool. Not in one of our cars because it'd be way too tight. But if you could get to Monaco and race something, would be that would be really cool. My 7-year-old autistic son lined up for over 1 hour to get an autograph on his Frosty car, only to be overexcited when he got home and wanted to play with it. And this is what was left. I was devastated. That's good. I'm glad he ripped the box open, but that's cool. That's what they're meant to be played with, I guess. So it was good that he, thank you for lining up. It was hot out there, and it's cool to sign the car. So I'm glad he enjoyed it. That's it's good to see it, even though it's ripped. It's good to see him enjoying it. Another championship quality drive. Would it be right to say the car issues are very similar to those experienced at Clips, or it's harder tyre and mechanical or aero grip? At Clips we were okay actually. We qualified 5th, was our worst spot. Pretty well 4th for most of the races, but we kept breaking front roll bars. So if we didn't break the roll bars, we would have had a pretty good car there. So we're probably 4th at best. Other people have jumped us, but Townsville we had a lot of issues, so they weren't really there in quali. At Adelaide, and even in quali at Adelaide. But Townsville was definitely a bit unique. So not really relating the two. Great job on the weekend. What are your thoughts on the new area on the Eastern Creek track, and are the V8's going to utilise it? We've actually, on a ride day, I used that new part of the track, and I wasn't really a big fan that we race on, but I'm not sure if we're going to use that part of the track. But I prefer to use the old part, because that corporate hill is probably the best corner on the track, and when you use the new part, it completely changes that part, so you don't actually get to use corporate hill. So I prefer it to stay the same. We'll finish off with 2 more. When you arrive at the track, I would like to know what's the first thing you do before anything else. We get there 7:30. Each day, one driver would do pit stop practice. So for Townsville, I did Friday and Sunday, and Chaz did Saturday. And then the next round, Chaz will do Friday and Sunday, and I'll do Saturday. So on the days we do pit stop practice, you get straight in, do your pit stop practice, and then grab your engineer and go and have brekkie and sit down and really chat about the day. So there's a lot of chatting that goes on. But then 8:30 we'll have our engineering briefing to talk about the day with everyone. And then normally it's merchandise signing, corporate suite visits, V8 supercar signing, practice session or qualifying, and it doesn't stop. So when you get to the track, you do try and relax for a little bit and get the engineers time, because sometimes it's the only part of the day you'll get to see your guy who's setting up your car. We'll do the last one. How's your car going under brakes, and how well do you think you can go at Ipswich? Our car's actually good under brakes, so it's not the braking that's the issue. So I think we'll be quite good at Ipswich because of the soft tyre. Last year we were, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One stage actually we were top 5. Chaz was leading, Will was second, I was third, Dave, and then Alex. So looking at last year, we were okay, but looking at last year at Townsville, we're okay. So we'll see what happens when we get there. But braking is really good on our cars, so we'll hopefully keep that strength, and that is a big part of Willowbank. So all right, I think we'll wrap it up. It's 8:03, but it's pretty relaxing up here, so I might go and have some cocktails, go sit in the spa, see if Chaz wants to get his boys with me, and we'll chill out for the week. So, yeah, thanks for coming on, ask questions, and thanks for supporting us, and we'll try and get the results back on track soon. So, thanks, guys. Have a good night.